Good evening. The word of the day is cow. We talked about a bull last night, so we'll talk about a cow tonight. Several years ago, I had a cow that I decided needed to go. When I would go out in the pasture and she was out there with the rest of the cows, everything was fine as long as there was nothing unusual and nobody else that went out there with me. I had one uncle who had a couple cows, and he could go out there and everything was fine. And we could go out there together if we didn't do anything unusual. But you let any little thing be out of the ordinary, this particular cow would raise her head up as high as she could reach, and her ears would stick up. And if she thought something was about to happen, the next thing you would see is her tail as she took off down across the pasture just as hard as she could go. And most of the time, the rest of the cows went with her. Now, she was a pretty decent cow in terms of what she did. She would raise a good calf and do her job as a cow. But she often created all kinds of problems when it came time to catch some of the cows, either to separate them or vaccinate them or do any kind of work. So I decided she had to go. Well, folks, she was so skittish and so nervous and so jumpy, it took me a couple of months to catch her. What I finally did was didn't put out any mineral blocks for about a month. And then I put a mineral block right in the middle of the catch pen and waited until she went in. Then we would try to go down there, my uncle and I, and shut the gates. We weren't fast enough. When she saw us coming, she would take off out of the pen just flying. So we had to think about this some more. We got a 100-foot rope and put on each gate on each end of the pen. And we waited and we watched. Finally, she walked in the pen and we pulled the ropes and raced down and secured them before she could get out. She spent the next hour circling that pen trying to find a way out. She finally settled down, and I called a friend of mine who had more experience with cattle than anybody I knew, and I said, I want her to go to the sale. Can you come by and pick her up? He'd come by before and picked up cows for me. Usually it took him 10, 15 minutes tops. They'd get the cow trailer in, get the cow loaded up, and be gone. It took them an hour to put this cow in the trailer, and there was 4 of them that day, and all 4 of them worked with cows all the time. It wasn't because they didn't know what they were doing. If anybody in this area knew what they were doing, they knew what they were doing. And the way the cow finally went on the trailer, they roped her, and she was pulling on the rope trying to get away from them and back down the chute up in the trailer and didn't realize she was in the trailer until it was too late. Then she went crazy in the trailer. What's the moral of this story about the cow? If she'd have stayed calm and cool and collected, she'd have stayed on the farm a lot longer. Her life would have been a lot better. People need to learn from the cow. If you'll stay calm and cool and collected, your life will probably be better. You won't be as stressed out about things, and it'll probably last longer. And it'll make you have a great day.